Okay, okay, okay. Right, now it's audible. Right, so I'll start again, no issue. As you can see that we have a three different terms. First one is causation, second one we have a correlation, and third term we have a regression. Now all three we are going to take one by one. First we'll see the covariance. Covariance means, for example, if you are taking example of two different variables, one variable we have a and second variable we have a b. So any variation caused in a, it will be affected by b or not. This we are trying to find out. For example, if I'm going to increase the number of a, how it is going to affect b, this we are going to study in case of the uh, in today's topic in terms of correlation, or either in case of the regression. So the changes which comes in b, that are divided into two different type. Either we are going to see the changes in terms of positive or in terms of negative, or we can say we have a negative covariance or we have a positive covariance. Now what is that? Oh, positive covariance mean higher the value of change in one variable. For example, if the value of a is increasing, is related to higher the value of change in the another variable. That means the value of b is also increasing, and this type of correlation we used to call that we have a positive covariance. Now what is it means negative? It means the value of a is increasing, and which leads to decrease in the value of b. So that kind of relationship, if we are trying to find out in the stats, we used to call that we have a negative covariance. So for the definition point of view, what we have to remember, we have to remember that covariance means variation in one variable is affecting or affected by the another variable, either in terms of positive or either in terms of negative. Positive covariance means that higher the value of change in one variable leads to the higher the value of change in the another variable, whereas the vice versa we are going to see in the negative covariance. That means if the value of a is getting higher, so it can lead to the decrease the value of b. So type of variance we are finding negative. So during our research, what we have to find out, we have to see that in terms of positive covariance or in terms of negative covariance, where our population is going to be benefited. But I'm going to give one example to you. For example, uh, we are going to correlate the two different variable. One will be written on x-axis a, and second will be b. For example, we have a called fasting blood sugar. We have a called fasting blood sugar, and second we have a physical activity in hours, in hours, physical activity in hours. Now you can see, if we are getting a graph like this, it means what? As the number of hour of physical activity we are increasing, the level of fasting blood sugar is also increasing. But increasing fasting blood sugar is going to be bad for patient point of view. In that case, what we need a graph like this, that here we have a fasting blood sugar and here we have a physical activity. In that case, we need a graph like this. That means higher the value of physical activity, lower the value of fasting blood sugar. That means if the patient is having a lower level of fasting blood sugar, that we can say that person is not suffering from the diabetes. So when correlating two numeric variable together, we have to see that where our population is going to be benefited. For example, our population is going to be benefited in this case. So negative covariance will be accepted during the project for example, example, if you want to show your results that really physical activity, uh, if you're increasing, the level of fasting blood sugar is going to be reduced for the patient point of view. That we, if you want to say that where the researcher will be benefited, so we can say that researcher will be benefited we if we got a results like this. And if you are getting results like this in terms of positive covariance, we are not on the beneficial side. So while correlating two different variable, and whenever we are applying a test for correlation or test for regression, what are the things which we have to keep in our mind? The first thing, that both the variables should have a similar units. Now you can see fasting blood sugar unit is mg per deciliter, and unit of physical activity is given in hours, hr, time, that is time. So both are different. So whenever we are applying a any test for correlation, test for regression analysis, either for the logistic or either for the linear, we have to standardize the units. What it means, it means the unit of both the variable, either it is your a or either it is your b, should be same. We will try to keep this one same. If not, if they are a separate units, then we have to standardize. So there are different charts are available on the internet, or different formula you are going to get, which will let you know that how much mg per deciliter is equivalent to uh, centimeter or millimeter, something like that. That means two units you can standardize. For example, 1 ml is equal to how much of grams, like this you can standardize. So for this we have to use the measurement charts. Measurement charts or measurement converters are available on are online, and even software used to do itself only. So what we are trying to find out, we are trying to find out that changes recorded in millimeter are not the same as those measured in the centimeter. For example, if we say that there is a difference of 10 millimeter, that the value of a has been increased 10 millimeter, so that is not equivalent to the centimeter. That means both units which we are going to compare, that should be similar. If not similar, then we have to standardize. If they are not similar, we have to standardize both the units by using the different charts. So at the end, what we are going to get, whenever we'll apply the test for correlation, covariance, or linear regression, we are going to get the standardized covariance value, which is ranging from -1 to +1. This is the standard range, which used to ask by the examiner in the exams, that what is the value for the correlation. So value for the correlation is -1 to +1. This is the range, -1 to +1. So for example, if you're getting a value something like 0.89, so we used to say that we have got the positive correlation. And if we are getting a value like -0.89, we used to say that we have got a negative correlation. So this positive sign or negative sign will let us know that we are on what side. We are on the uh, positive side or we are on the negative side. So how we can find out the changes if one variable is going to affect by the another variable? This we can find out with the help of test called correlation and the regression. So both are two different tests. So to illustrate this example, I have taken a data from dataset 2.4. I'm using a dataset 2.4, where you can find out that how I have applied the test called correlation coefficient test. So to explain this thing, I'm using a two different variable. For example, we would like to test the correlation between HbA1c. This is the first variable, and the systolic blood pressure. This is the second variable. For you can say that this is our A, and systolic blood pressure is our B. Now you can see the unit of A is given in percentage, and unit of B is given in terms of mmHg. That means both the units are different. Clear? So we cannot say that 1% is equivalent to 1 mmHg. Clear? So for that case, what we have to do to find out the relationship, we are using the value of R. We are using a value of R. R means the value of R is representing to correlation, value of R. So value of, by taking the value of R, we can find out that is there any correlationship between HbA1c and the systolic blood pressure or not. For example, or we want to find out if the person whose HbA1c value, which is representing to diabetes mellitus, is increasing, either it is going to affect the blood pressure of the patient or not, or diabetes is having any sort of relationship with the hypertension or not. This we can find out with these two variables. So what we can expect now, theoretically, what we have to find out, we can say that lower the HbA1c indicate good diabetic control. That means the normal, just for a example, I can say this thing that normal range of HbA1c is 6.5. So lower the value of this HbA1c below 6.5, we can say the patient is going to be benefited, or patient is having a good diabetic control. He is not suffering from diabetes. Clear? So what we can expect in this test when we are comparing a HbA1c or systolic blood pressure, we cannot expect the positive correlation. For example, this is the graph for the positive correlation and this is the graph for the negative correlation. If we are getting like this, what it means? It means higher the value of HbA1c means higher the value of the systolic blood pressure. And if you are getting a graph like this, we can say higher the value of HbA1c, lower the value of the systolic blood pressure. So by applying the test, we will find out that which kind of result we are getting. So one variable is our HbA1c, and we can say that HbA1c is a independent variable in our test. This will be called as independent variable, and systolic blood pressure can be the dependent variable. If you want to keep vice versa, you can keep HbA1c as a dependent variable, and you can say that systolic blood pressure is your dependent variable. It's your own wish that which one you want to keep as a what. But while writing the result, you have to make sure that what you have thought at the beginning, that should be followed till writing the results. Clear? So three different possibilities we will have in the test. Either we are going to get a type A results, type B results, or type C results. This will be called positive correlation. That means higher the value of one variable leads to higher the value of the second variable, called positive correlation. This will be called negative correlation. Higher the value of one variable leads to decrease in the value of second variable. And when we have seen that we have not got this line and we have not got this line, so it will be considered as no linear correlation. That means there is no correlation between A and B, or HbA1c or the systolic blood pressure. So by seeing the line, you can even find out that if we have a positive correlation, then how much positive? It is strong, it is moderate, or it is mild. I'll repeat again. By seeing the scope of the line or slope of the line, we can find out that how much positive it is. For example, I have written a term called strong or moderate or mild. We can find out by seeing the value of R. By seeing the value of R, we can also find out. So behind the test, which formula is working? This is the formula for the Spearman correlations. Perlman was the scientist who have invented the test. Now, what it represent, the R we used to call is equivalent to 1. That means minus 1, 2 plus 1, we are expecting as a standard value. So 1 minus 6 sum of all D square. D is the difference between rank of sixth pair, fifth pair, seventh pair, third pair. So ith is representing to that you are discussing about how many pair. So it can be first pair, second pair, third pair, or fourth pair of the two variable, and n is representing to the number of pair which you have taken for the observation. So while applying the test, you can have a multiple pair, but I'll show you that time what will be the formula. Formula will be like this. For example, if we want to find out that we have a more than uh, two independent variable which we want to run together in the linear regression, so this beta 1 and x1 is representing to first variable, this beta 2 and x2 is representing to second variable, and if you have a third variable, then you have to expand the formula to beta 3 x3, and if you have a fourth variable, then beta 4 x4, like this you have to expand. So what we used to do, we used to write a different lines or dots like this, that it can be the number of variables for the multiple linear regression. But if you say that we have a only linear regression, then we'll use a this formula for a simple uh, linear regression. So now I will discuss in the further slide that what is the difference between the simple linear regression and multiple linear regression after we will finish the test called correlation. So you don't have to be confused. We are discussing about here correlation. In this slide, we are discussing about this formula is representing to correlation, and when I switch to another formula called this one, this graph, this is representing to linear regression, but simple linear regression. In simple linear regression mean what we have a one independent variable and we have a one dependent variable, and there is also called a term called multiple linear regression, because this linear regression tests are classified into two different types. One we used to call simple and one we used to call multiple. Simple means what? That one independent variable and one dependent variable. And multiple linear regression, what we have might be one dependent variable, but 2, 3, or 4 independent variable we were having in case of multiple linear regression. That means we want to find out the effect of 3 to 4 independent variable together on a dependent variable like HbA1c, and we are trying to find out the relationship of fasting blood sugar, and this will be called as simple linear regression. As I will add a random blood sugar here and age, then weight, any other variable along with these fasting blood sugar, this one, then it will be called as a multiple linear regression. So in multiple linear regression, we will have a more number of variables which we are going to run in a single test. So I will let you know that how the test will be carried out. This example I was quoting in the previous slide, that we want to study a diabetic control which is given in terms of HbA1c of 60 patients. So N for the test is 60. N for the test is 60 patients. One variable we have HbA1c, and second variable we have a systolic blood pressure. And you can assume that independent variable is HbA1c and dependent variable we have a systolic blood pressure. Clear? So for this is the route that which we have to follow in the SPSS. We have to click on analyze. We have to go to the option called correlate. Then we have to click on the bivariate. Now why bivariate? bivariate means these two variable we are running together. There is an option called univariate. That means there you have to add only one variable and you can see the trend of that along one variable only. So Pearson was the scientist who have invented the test. So we used to call Pearson correlation, or we used to call Sperman correlation. So both are different. Pearson we used to apply for the data which is normally distributed, P, and Sperman correlation will be applied for the data which is having a skewness in the data. So how to decide now? We have to check the normality of HbA1c and systolic blood pressure. Both should have a normal data. Then you can say you are eligible for the Pearson correlation. If one of the variable was found to be not normally distributed, then you are not longer stick to the Pearson correlation. You have to apply the Sperman correlation. The method will remain same. Just you have to click on the test, that which test you have to follow. You are going for the Sperman or you are going for the Pearson. So this you can choose by clicking a checkbox there. So here I have mentioned that Sperman correlation or the Sperman is the one or both variable those who are not normally distributed. Data was found not normally distributed. And you can see if you'll open the data set 2.4 which I have sent you, you can see that you are going to get the data of ID, age, HbA1c and systolic blood pressure. So obviously these two we are not going to use. These are just the ID of the patient and age of the patient has been written. But as you can see that both variable are numeric. For correlation, for linear regression, you don't require a categorical variable. You don't require a categorical variable. If any variable you have which is given in the form of category, you cannot run the test. Both variable, either it is your independent or either it is your dependent, that you can say that A or B, both should be given in terms of number. That is sure. Then only you can apply. So before applying the test, apply the test for the normality distribution and try to find out that what is the distribution. Then only you can choose that you are going for the Pearson side or you are going for the Sperman side. So you can see here that data of HbA1c has been entered in terms of number. These, for example, that this is the patient number 2 who is having age 44. HbA1c value was found to be 7.7 and systolic blood pressure of this patient was found 124. So this is the set of one patient. This is for the patient number 8. This is the set data of patient number 8. Clear? Now one thing, units are different. The unit of HbA1c is percentage and unit of systolic blood pressure is mmHg. So by seeing the mean difference, we cannot find out that one variable is having a correlation with another variable. So how we are going to decide? We are going to decide by seeing the graph that which kind of trend we are getting. We have to see the trend, and by seeing the value of R, that R was found to be how much. Clear? This is the route that how we are going to apply. We have to go to the analyze, then go to correlate. Correlate is the command for the correlation test. Then go to bivariate. Bivariate because two variable we are running together. And so go to analyze, go to correlate, and go to bivariate. So as you will move to bivariate, you are going to get a window for bivariate correlation. This is the window for bivariate correlation. This one. And you can see these are the variable which we have made for our study. And from here you don't have any text box or you don't have a dependent list box. You have only one box called variables. So both the variable you have to move from left side to this side. Clear? And at the end, where correlation coefficient has been written, you have a two different options. One you have a for Sperman and one you have a for correlation. So you should have applied the test for the normality distribution earlier to find out that what is the distribution of your data. What the rule says that independent variable, rule says that independent variable, I'll just write on with the pen, wait, and dependent variable both should be normally distributed. You are ready for the Pearson correlation. Clear? If one variable is normally distributed and dependent variable is not normally distributed, then also you are going for Sperman correlation. If both independent and dependent variable are not normally distributed, then also you are going for the Sperman correlation. This is the rule which we use for the differentiate that we should follow the Pearson or we should follow the Sperman correlation. So as we will find out that which test we have to apply, we can choose at the bottom. From here we can choose that we have to go for the Pearson. For example, I have found a bell-shaped curve for both A and B. For both A and B, that means HbA1c and systolic blood pressure, I have got a bell-shaped curve, so I can choose the Pearson correlation. And whenever you will open the software, you are giving a commands for bivariate correlation, you can find out that this has been already checked by the software default. So if you want to go for Sperman, you have to remove this Pearson and you have to click on the Sperman. So just try to find out that what your data says. According to that you can proceed, and after that finally you can click OK. So once you click OK, you're having the results of the correlation coefficient test. Now what the test result says, this is the main slide. I will take the queries at the end, what you are writing on the screen. Now what the correlation says, as you can, first of all you are going to get the name of the variable, that which variable you have compared. So you can see that we have compared HbA1c with a systolic blood pressure, and you are going to see that we are getting a same value here. So what you have to do, you have to refer only half table. For example, you can divide the table and you can see only this part, ignore the bottom. What it means, first half table is representing the correlation of A with B, and after that it is showing the correlationship of B with A. So no need to study this one, we are only look for the correlation of A with B. Now we can see the standard value is 1. Now it is showing what, that one value of HbA1c is equivalent to 0.431 of systolic blood pressure. So this value will be considered as the value of R, the value which you are got in front of the Pearson correlation. That value will be considered as a value of R, this value, Pearson correlation value. Clear? Now if your significant value is given in terms of positive, for example here we have got a positive value which is less, standard is the same 0.05, and we have got a value less than 0.05 and our p value was found to be 0.001. It means test was found significant. Now we can see that our p value we have got in plus, that we didn't get any negative value. We didn't get any minus value here. Minus sign is not there, or we didn't get minus sign here. So we can assume that we have got a positive correlation. We have got a positive correlation, and this is the value of R. And you can see that how to write the result. We can write there is a significant. Now one term has been used, moderate. Now, how we have chosen that it was found moderate? Positive correlation we have found because of these two things, that both the value was found positive. So we are able to write that there is a positive correlation between HbA1c and systolic blood pressure. So we can write the name of both variable, and this is the writing style, that how to write. We have to write in the bracket R is equal to the R value which we have got from the table, this one 0.431, and the p value which have got we can write. And this is the rule of standards. If p value is less than 0.05, we used to say that our results are positive. If p value is more than 0.05, still we can say that our results are negative, that we have got the negative correlation. But by seeing the value of R on plus or minus, we can also find out. Now, why moderate? There are standards which we have to refer, the cutoff point for the interpretation of the correlation. What are those? These I have written at the bottom of the slide, that cutoff point for interpretation for the correlation coefficients are, if this R value, the value of R which we have got, is between 1.1 to 0.3, we used to say that it is a weak. We are not bothered here about positive or negative. We will say weak, and after that we will add a term called positive or negative by seeing the p value, or by seeing the sign of R, that either we have got our value in plus or we have got our value in minus. For example, if we have got this value as a minus 0.43, so I used to say that this is a negative correlation. So as you can see that our this 0.43 belongs to this range, that means zero point 0.4 to 0.7. So because of this thing, we have chosen a term called moderate. And how much closer you are near to 1, that will be called as stronger correlation. If the value more than 0.8 will be act as a stronger, regardless to direction, either we are on the positive side or we are on the negative side. So 0.1 to 0.3 is the weak, 0.4 to 0.7 is the moderate, and more than 0.8 we used to call as strong. So which is the highest value which we used to get in terms of correlation? That is 0.99. We are not going to get any value more than this. After that we have standard -1 to +1. This is the standard. So this is the highest value which we can get. Clear? Most of the time we used to get like this, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8. So in case of linear regression, what we used to do, we used to change the value of R into a percentage. For example, if I want to say that how much systolic blood pressure having a correlation with the HbA1c. Now you can say that HbA1c having a positive, moderate, positive, moderate correlation with the systolic blood pressure. But how much? So what we used to do, the value of R will be converted into percentage. For example, here we have got 0.43. 0.43 will be termed as 43% out of 100. that there is a positive correlation, 43% positive correlation of HbA1c with the systolic blood pressure. So this is the same slide. So this was the test of correlation, and in most of the cases where you want to compare only one variable with the uh, one variable which is given in terms of numeric and another variable also given numeric, then you can apply this particular test called correlation coefficient. And I will let you know one more thing, that simple linear regression and correlation test are somehow same. There is not that much different, but the writing style of results are different. Remaining all the things are the similar. That means we are comparing a two numeric variable on a x or y axis graph. But rule of stat says what? Rule of stat says that if we want to proceed for the linear regression directly, we cannot proceed with the test. We have to find the trend first, then we can proceed for the numeric calculation, or we can go for the statistical calculation. So if any person, those who are having a little bit knowledge about the statistics, what they used to say, that or if any person will ask you that what is the difference between the correlation and the linear regression. So you can say in terms of that statistically both tests are similar. Both are used to find out the relationship of independent variable with the another variable, and we are comparing the covariance of two different variables. That higher the value of one variable is going to affect other variable or not. If it is going to affect, then on the positive side or negative side. This we are trying to find out. In correlation, directly we can run the test, and we can find out that how much is the correlation in terms of negative or positive, along with moderate, mild, and strong are the option where or the standard where we used to get the answer. Whereas in case of linear regression, we cannot directly proceed for the test. First we have to find out the trend, because whenever we have applied this one test for correlation, this graph I have made for myself, for that you to understand that which kind of graph we used to get. For example, if I have got a moderate positive correlation, then we used to get a graph like this. We used to get a graph like this. Straight line will be there, like this straight line. Software is not going to give any graph. In case of simple linear regression, we used to get a graph, and name of the graph will be dot plot. Dot plot. Dot matrix plot we used to call. So the next test which we are going to study is the same simple and multiple linear regression. I will let you know that what was the difference between these two, and these are the most common tests which we used to get in the thesis. Before I'll proceed for linear regression, I want to take the queries, that any query is there or not. I was seeing that someone has added something. Sir, in this example, you have not converted the units to same before applying, yeah, correlation. See, we don't have to convert the unit, because the data will be entered in terms of, for example, what I'll just show you data which we have entered. This one, that HbA1c is the original which we have added 6.3 and 118. The software is not bothered about the units of the data. For example, here 6.3 of HbA1c is equivalent to 6.3 of systolic blood pressure. Now if I'll write here 118, so this 118 will be equivalent to this 118. For the software, it is the same. Clear? And we are not comparing a mean. For example, the mean of systolic blood pressure was found to be 7.8, and mean of this systolic blood pressure was found to be around 120. And how much is the mean difference, and mean difference was found around 112 and 111. So when we are doing manually, that time we have to convert the unit, we have to standardize, and then we can proceed. With the software, whenever we are applying, we are taking the decision by seeing the graph, that how is the trend, either on the positive side or either on the negative side, and we are taking our decision by seeing the value of r, that what the r says, that a value of r is how much, either it is in negative or either it is given in terms of positive. So in software we don't have to do anything whenever we are applying with the help of software. If you are doing, for example, manually with the help of this equation, that time we have to standardize the unit. We have to try to find out that how much percent of uh, one unit of HbA1c is equivalent to how much of systolic blood pressure. And the answer was given by the software. Whenever we have applied the test, which we have got in the test, you can see that this is the one, that 1 unit of HbA1c is equivalent to 0.43 unit of systolic blood pressure. If you want to compare that 1 unit of HbA1c is equivalent to how much, so it is this much, which is quoted by the software. It is this much, or you can say vice versa. This is the answer that was made. Calculation was done by the software, and according to this one, we have got the value of r. This will be considered as value of r, which we are taking to find out the decision. Either it is the weak, it is moderate, or the strong. Positive and negative, we are trying to find out with the help of this by two different things: by p value or by the sign of our what we have got, either in positive or either in negative, this one. So we don't have to convert the unit uh, if we are running with the software. Manually, if you are doing, obviously we have to do. So even for that, we are not doing manually. We used to refer a different charts which is available on the internet. If you want to see that, you can type on the Google that 1% of HbA1c is equivalent to how much of systolic blood pressure, or percentage versus mmHg. So you are going to get a conversion unit. And who have made those conversion unit? Those who have standardized these software. They have added a different charts or different tables where you can find out. But different will tables will suggest you different readings. For example, it is not necessary that all the tables which you are going on the internet are going to give you a single value. For example, uh, you are referring to three documents. So out of the three documents, you are going to get most probably three different values. Now, because those are the table which are added by someone. For example, I am the person who is having a knowledge of statistics. So I have made a table and I have uploaded on the internet. So reliable source, you have to find out that which source you are referring. You cannot refer any table. For example, if I want to write the result of my thesis or my project, so I will write in my research paper that 1% of HbA1c is equivalent to 0.43% of systolic blood pressure. So that particular line will be remain on the database. So if you are searching for this particular code, that percentage of HbA1c is equivalent to systolic blood pressure unit. So Google search is going to give you this particular value, which is quoted by me. And but that is the data of my project, the data which I have entered in my system, in my data set, in this sheet. Because this one 1 unit of HbA1c is equivalent to 0.43, we have found that is representing to this data which I have added in this sheet, not the standards. Standards will be different. So make sure the table which you are referring should be from the reliable source, which is having some authenticity. Directly don't find on the internet that this much is equivalent to this much, how much it is. So you are not going to get the exact answer. I'll take second query. Kappa statistical test. It is similar, sir. No, no, it's not similar. That is a difference. That how many variables you are running. If you are running a one variable, then it will be only either a correlation or either a simple linear regression. Simple. Kappa mainly will have multiple variable together. That means one side we have a one, and in another side we will have a more than one. Uh, when is the Kendall correlation used for? Kendall correlation, I have not heard the term this called Kendall correlation. Let me find out what is that. Then I will be able to answer that what it means. Who is asking? Thomas. Yeah. See, I got it. What it means. See, Kendall correlation will be used when we are not bothered about the distribution. That means we don't want to follow the rule of test for the normality distribution. We don't want to see the normality of independent and normality of the dependent. Just we want to run. For example, that will be done mainly in case of currency. Okay, whenever you are going to conduct any study where one of the variable is the currency, that time we used to apply this Kendall type of correlations. I think you have got it. What I mean to say, because currency is the one which is not a single. For example, it always changes, because one USD will not remain the same, is equivalent to one INR. Today the value is different, tomorrow it is going to be changed. So we will not bother about the distribution, that either it is normal or not normal. So any study where currency is involved, for example, you want to find out the correlation of any pharmacoeconomic study where cost is one of the variable, cost versus something else, then you can apply this particular Kendall correlation. So that case, what you have to do, for the variable where you have entered the data for the currency, either in INR or either in USD, you don't have to apply the test for the normality distribution. Directly you can go for the Pearson and you can find out the value of R. We have a query. Sir, what happened to the R and P value if there is no correlation between? Yeah, directly we used to say that these two variable does not have any correlation. See, as I told you, we used to get a result in three different terms. This one, that either we will have a positive relationship, either we'll have a negative relationship, or either we have a no relationship. We can write in our thesis that A does not have any correlation with the B, or we are on this section C, that there is no correlation. And how we can find out? Whenever we used to get a graph, our graph should have a straight line. And see, it is not necessary that we should get a straight line like this for the positive. We can get a line like this also. We can get a line like this also for positive, and for negative might we will get like this, or we will get like this, or we'll get a near about straight line. So it's based upon the data, that how your data has been what was the number of your data exactly, that measurement unit was what, because each dot is representing to one sample. So it has been plotted on x versus x-axis and y-axis, and whatever the data points are there, we will try to find out, or we will try to join maximum dots together in a linearity line. For example, here you can see that most of the data points are joined together. then only you are going to get a linearity line. That here you can see this dot is matching, this is matching, this is matching, this is matching. So you have to draw a line where maximum dots touch to a particular line. So that line will be considered for the relationship. So might be for whenever you will have a no correlation, you are going to get a graph like this. That straight line you are not going to observe. Your data will be something like this. Or I'll show another example I have in case of linear regression. Yeah, like this. This will be called, we have a linear relationship, and this we used to call that we have a quadric, that no relationship. We will discuss the shapes in the further slides. Yeah, this we used to call in normal, the which I was showing you in the previous slide. That was the continuation. That here we can get, this will be called a linear positive, where we have got straight line like this. This will be called linear negative. And if straight line are not observed, we have curved in the line, then we used to say that no linear relationship. And in that case, what will happen? In this case, p value will be very far. For example, uh, software is not going to give you the exact r value, or it is not going to give a exact p value to you, because these two value within the ranges is going to let you know that either you are on the positive or either you are on the negative. We will take an example. I'll show you, I'll run the test, then I will let you know that how to get. This is the example of SPSS. This example which I have shown you, that was the simple graph which was taken from the internet. But you're not going to get a graph like this. Whenever you will run the test, you are going to get a graph like this. This graph which I have taken from the SPSS software, the software is going to give a graph like this to you. So instead of see those graph directly, you should see this one. And you can see this is representing to negative correlation. And you can see one variable I have taken the same, that is HbA1c, and second is the MET-HR. MET-HR, I think it's a metabolic activity in per hour. I have taken the 20 hour, 40 hour, 60 hour, 80 hours, and each dot is representing to one patient. And automatically software has fixed a line, this line which you can see, and we are finding a negative trend. So what are the main thing which we have to keep in our mind while applying the correlation and linear regression? That first of all, do not bother about that which kind of trend you are getting, positive or negative. What one thing the student used to keep in their mind, that positive correlation is good for their project and negative correlation is not good for their project. They used to think in this way. So forget about this thing, that you should not be bothered about the trend, that what you are getting, that is based upon the data which you have entered in the software. First thing. Second, you have to see your population for whom you are applying the test is going to be benefit in what case. I'm going to give two examples to you so that you this will be clear in your mind. One example is the same uh, HbA1c. Lower the value of HbA1c is better for the patient. Higher the value of HbA1c means the patient is having a bad diabetic control, and their condition will be become more worsen if the number of HbA1c is going to rise. So here in this study, where you are comparing HbA1c with anyone, the patient is going to be benefited where you are getting a negative trend, negative graph, or your population is going to be benefited where patients are getting a negative trend. Now I'll take the opposite example. For example, you are comparing the sale of the company, sale of the company in terms of dollar. Clear? In that case, company will be benefited more if you're getting a straight line, positive graph. So while applying the test, both can be negative for your project or both can be positive. You have to see that actual population for whom you have applied the test is going to be benefited in what case. For example, uh, if you're talking about sale, then which can of study it will be. For example, advertisement, this example I have taken you earlier also, versus sale. That company want to run a advertisement on a national television, so they have chosen that okay, we will uh, give a ad on ZTV at 9 o'clock कि भाई जो प्रोग्राम आता है कि वेरी पॉपुलर प्रोग्राम इज देयर DNA, so we will run our ad on a national television. Now how many number of ad? Two ads, three ad, four ad, or five ad during 1 hour. So what they did, company want to find out that if they will increase the number of advertisement at this situation on national television, on ZTV, and on a popular show, the sale of the company is going to be affect or not. So increasing the number of advertisement should increase the sale of the company. That is the positive correlation. If sale is also increasing, then it will be the positive correlation. But say close this. But if the pupil or the persons those who are watching the TV have the negative impact of that particular advertisement, so sale of the company will decrease. So company will be benefited at what case? At this case, in number of advertisement you are increasing, the sale of company is also increasing. But there is chances that there is a negative impact on the citizens of India. Might be the sale of the company will decrease due to any, for example, incidents. For example, you have taken any personality on a to for that particular advertisement, and that personality has been caught in drug case or something like that has happened. So as you will increase the number of advertisements, the sale of the company is going to be decreased. So that is based upon the situation. But in simple words, if I'll say that number of advertisement versus sale of the company, if we want to run the test, so in which side company will be benefited? Company will be benefited when we are getting a graph like this. But for the diabetic patient, they will be benefited in the project when we are getting a graph like this. So we have, it is not similar that always a positive trend is good for your study. You have to see that what was the condition, what was the population. This you have to keep in your mind. So decision will be taken according to that. So I'll come to second one. I will let you know. This is the, yeah, simple and multiple linear regression. So I want to finish this simple today. So because we have a limited time, the test, the another test we used to call, it's a regression analysis. Regression analysis. Regression means what? We used to call several times that which test you have applied, and people used to say I have applied a regression. Now regression exactly means what? It means you are fitting all the data into a single line. That regression means the process of fitting all observed data into a line. That you want to see everything, or you want to take a decision by seeing a single line. This line we are talking. You want to find out either the correlation, either the anything by seeing a single line. So it take the relationship of two variable to the next level. Now what it means, in correlation we have seen that relationship was positive or negative. Relation if positive or if negative, then what? Moderate, mild, or strong. This kind of answer we have got in case of correlation coefficient test. But simple linear regression will let us know more thing. We will take the relationship into the next level. Now, instead of just looking the change between two variable, it will also describe the direction of change, that at what direction we are going. Actually, direction we have seen, actually we will not get the graph whenever we'll apply the correlation. We are going to get this table only. But to illustrate the test, to you to understand test, I have discussed these graphs with you. Or whenever you will apply the correlation coefficient test, you are not going to get any graph. You are going to get any only this table, this r value, and with the r value we are going to take the decision. So what is the meaning of this 0.43? I want you to understand. So what I did, I have shown these three different graphs to you so that you are able to understand what the positive means, what the negative means, and what no correlation means. Clear? So what the this simple linear regression slide says, that we will also get the direction of changes. That means we are going to get a graph also. Clear? So if we are looking at the relationship between variable a and b, and we want to prove that a is causing b, so we cannot say the same thing that b is not the same or b is causing a. What it means? It means, all right, we used to quote from the beginning that A is causing B, or smoking is causing cancer. Clear? But you cannot take it back the same quote for the B to A. You cannot say that B is caused by A only, as per the null hypothesis. Yeah, might be cancer has been caused, but A is not the only one which are contributed towards the cancer. Some other reasons are also there. Might be, it can be the gender, it can be the hereditary, it can be the age, it can be the occupation where the person is working, it can be the other carcinogens, but not A alone. So when we're talking about two variable A and B, so one will be considered as dependent variable and another one will be considered as independent variable in the test. So if A is causing B, then A we used to call mainly that A is the independent variable and B is the dependent variable, because B depends on A to happen. Clear? So in case of linear regression, what we are getting? We are getting a straight line is drawn to represent all the observation. A straight line will be there, then all observation will be drawn along with the line that where we used to place the data, and then we used to decide that relationship is having a what. So actually what we are comparing, we are comparing a residual. Now I'll let you know what it means, that we were finding the difference of the residual. Now residual means what? Now for example, this is the A, this is your B, this is your C, this is your D, E, and F. Now we were comparing in linear regression what is the difference between B and F? Is the this one. Either residual of B and F is equivalent to A and C. This one, this we are comparing. For a linear regression where we found positive correlation, there we used to say that similar residual has been observed. So A and C and B and F should be the same, and we are comparing this. For that, this is the equation: y beta naught plus beta x divided by eta e. I'll let you know this is the expanded equation for the linear regression. Now, this is only for one sample. That means we have only one variable on the independent side and one variable on the dependent side. If number of variable is going to be increased, it will be quoted as beta 2 x2, beta 3 x3, beta 4 x4, beta 5 x5, like that. As you can see, this has been mentioned. For example, for two variable, we have expanded the equation to beta 1 x1, beta 2 x2. If sample are 2, then we will finish at 2 plus eta. We'll continue. If we have a 3, we have to write before eta, we will write beta 3 x3. If we have 4 variable, we'll write beta 4 x4. And at the last, then we will finish the equation. That means by seeing the equation, you can identify that how many variable was run in a single test to compare. As you can see, this is the simple linear regression. Simple linear regression means one variable on independent side and one variable on the dependent side. Now, y is the dependent variable which we want to compare with the x. X is the independent variable. This y is the dependent variable. This x is the independent variable. Error eta is the residual or error of the regression, this one, which will end after each sample. For example, here we have a samples which we want to run, and for example it can be 1, 2 or 3. When we'll finish, we'll do sign of plus, and at the end we'll write eta error. Beta naught is the constant minus y value when x is 0. Y value when x is 0, and beta is the constant of x, this one. These two, this is separate and this is separate. Now this is the definition of residual. Actually, what we are discussing in this slide, that difference of B and C. Residual are the difference between predicted y and the observed y at the given x, which we are comparing in the simple linear regression. So if number of variable increases, so we are not longer to stick with a simple linear regression. The test will be changed. It will become the multiple linear regression when we have two or more independent variable. So that time we used to call that it is a multiple linear regression, and formula of multiple linear regression is going to be changed. This one is used for the simple linear regression, and this one is used for the multiple linear regression, where x1 and x2 are the two different variable. And if we have a 3, then we'll have a x3, x4, x5, number of variable will be increased. So we are not bothered that much. We will finish at what? It can be 16, it can be 17, it can be 18, it can be 20, and numbers in the multiple linear regressions. So we have a assumptions that if whenever we'll apply the test, what we will find? We'll find the linearity between the independent variable and the dependent variable, and either it is on the positive side, it is on the negative side. When we have got a straight line, either this or either this, we used to say that we have got the linearity. In the scattered plot, you can see always straight line will be observed like this. You will not find a curve on the line. If you'll find a curve on the line, it means the test fails. There is no relationship. So line should be straight. Might be direction will be different. You are going to get a something else. For example, you will get, in most of the cases, student used to get a result like this, or they used to get a result like this. I'm not able to draw straight, but this line will be straight, what I'm drawing right now. Or they'll get a line like this, any line. So this will be called linearity. Clear? So whenever we'll apply, either it is our simple linear regression or multiple, there is a chances for the error, and software also do the auto corrections. For example, if there is a some points are not matching with the data points, so software you used to do the auto correction along with the data. But with the same, it will suggest you with the name that what he did. Either there is a, like this, independence of error was there, or there was a presence of the auto correction in the data. He will guide you by changing the name of the graph that you are going to see. So this I have already discussed, that three type of results we are going to get: positive, negative, and no relationship. By seeing curve, we don't want, we want a linearity line, straight line, either on the positive side or either on the negative side. So to illustrate this particular example, I'm going to run the same data set called 2.5. Yeah, another one. For correlation, I have used 2.4. For this one, I'm using a 2.5, and I'll just finish today with the simple linear regression. And tomorrow we'll discuss about multiple. So in this one, what we are going to compare the same variable called HbA1c. One variable will be H1c, and second variable will be MET-HR. Now I will just let you know what we have in MET-HR. Number of hours of physical activity patient were doing in a week, per week. In a week, how many hours exercise the patient was doing. So what the hypothesis says? Hypothesis says the more physical activity you are doing, the level of HbA1c should reduce. That more physical activity you're doing, the level of either your fasting blood sugar, random blood sugar, which is representing to this HbA1c, should be less. And standard value for HbA1c is 6.5. So lower the value, 6.5, means person is not suffering from diabetes. If value is more than 6.5, we can say person is having a diabetes mellitus. So we want to find out what both variable are given in numbers. Here we have a data that patient number 1 is doing how much of physical activity in a week. The answer is 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, like this. And what was his or her HbA1c score? Because HbA1c score will be considered after 3 months. For example, today you did the test, and after 15 days again you are doing the test, the reading will remain same. It is the average value of 3 months. So the value is going to change after 3 months. So whenever, see, might be it is possible. Now why this HbA1c we are considering in most of the cases, uh, because it's give a reliable value in case of diabetes. For example, today you want to meet a doctor. So before going to a doctor, you will have a medicines, and you will monitor the fasting blood sugar, and you will show your report to doctor. See, my fasting blood sugar is under the range 140. So doctor will say, okay, you don't want to take the drugs now. Without drug, you can manage your diabetes. But actually, you have not tell the truth that early in the morning you have taken a tablet, or before going to the hospital you have taken a drug. But this HbA1c value will let you know the exact, either you have taken the drug or either you have not taken the drug. The test will not bother. It will give you the average of 3 months, that what was the uh, content of RBC, hemoglobin that was representing inside the RBC, that glycerated hemoglobin we used to call. So this test is recommended mainly in case of diabetes. So we used to find out that what was the normal value. If value is less than 6.5, we'll say the person is having a good diabetic control. More than 6.5, we'll say that you have to manage your diabetes or you are suffering from diabetes mellitus. So this is the change, that in linear regression we will not run the test first. We have to find out that we are getting the linearity or not. If we got the linearity, then we are eligible for the test and we will run the test. Otherwise, we will not get any tables. We will not run the test at all. So to find out the linearity, what we have to do, we have to generate the dot plot, scattered dot plot, which I have shown you this one. We have to see that we are getting a linearity trend or not. Either we require a positive or we require a negative. If the graph says or graph suggests that there is no relationship between these two variables, then we will not run the linear regression test. We'll stop there only. So to find out this, what we have to do, we have to create the graph, and name of the graph is scattered plot. So for that, what we have to do, I'll just let you know. On the top of SPSS, there is the option called graph. Go to graph. In the graph, there is the option called chart builder. Go to chart builder and click OK. So once you click OK, you are going to get a window for a chart builder. Now here, some basics are there which I want you to introduce. Here you are going to see the variables which you have made for your study, and this will be the Y for your study, and this will be the X for your study. X axis or Y axis will be there. Okay, so first you don't have to see this upper part. Come down. Here you can see, the list of graph, that what are the different options available in the SPSS to create the graphs. You can draw the bar. You have an option for line, area, pie chart. Scattered plot we have to draw in case of linear regression. So I have chosen a scattered plot, but still you have an option for a histogram, high and low, box plot, dual axis and all. So once you will click on the scattered plot, under the scattered plot, these are the options: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. That means 8 different kind of scattered plot you can made through SPSS. As you will click on bar, then it will show the different options for bar. If you click on line, then it will show the different options for line. So double click will not work here. Double click will not work here. You have to drag. You have to drag. For example, as you will move the mouse on the picture, you are going to get the name. I will show you in the SPSS live demo so that it will be easy for you to understand. As you will move your mouse on the picture, the software is going to let you know the exact name of that graph, and you have to note it down, that okay, I have plotted this graph. For example, this graph name is simple scattered. This graph name is something else. This graph name is multiple scattered. This graph is 3D multiple dot scattered plot. So different names are there for each graph. So as you will move the mouse and which graph you want to draw, that you can drag from lower window to upper window. So according to the type of graph, these options will be visible. For example, if you want to draw a 3D graph, then you will have an option for this x axis, y axis. You will option have for z axis. Again, you will have a one more option for category, gender. So whatever the things which will display on the chart preview, that is based upon the type of graph which you have chosen. For example, at present you are seeing what? You are seeing a option for x-axis and y-axis only, two axes, because this option is based upon the simple scattered plot. You have chosen a scattered plot, and under the scattered you have chosen a simple, and simple has been taken on the chart preview area. So option which are visible, this one and this one, is belongs to uh, simple scattered. So I'll discuss, instead of this one, I'll just open SPSS so that we can draw a graph. You are able to find out that what we have to do. Let me share my screen. I'll just stop my whole presentation. Today, I'll just let you know that how to create a graph, how to set it. Then remaining will data of linear regression will take in tomorrow's class. Let me share my whole screen so that you are able to see what I'm doing right now. I'm opening a SPSS window. Okay, any data set we can open, and you can see that as we are proceeding ahead, the number of days is going to reduced, but still it's showing trial. It's not a genuine copy, it's showing a trial, but so many days in trial, we're not bothered. Oh, okay, we'll open a PhD data set of the same. We require what? We require a two numeric variable. Okay, so I'll go to graph on the top, then on the chart builder we have a option. We click OK. So this is the chart builder. Now you can see these are the variable which I have made for my project. This is the list of variable. These all are the list of variable which we have made. So, and here you can see, as I click on bar, so simple bar, if I cluster bar, scattered bar, simple 3D bar, clustered 3D bar, scattered 3D bar, simple error bar, and clustered error bar. So whatever you are seeing in this, as I will move the mouse, the name of the graph is going to change. So whenever you're writing your thesis or research paper, you have to write it down, the name of this particular graph which you have plotted. For example, I want to go for this cluster, so still the area is blank on the top. So I will drag the graph from lower to upper chart preview window. Now I got a data to add in the x-axis, y-axis. Now cluster on x, set color, and the filter. If you want, because two category I can, for example, I can add the gender as a filter. So gender will act as a filter. For example, age of the patient I can add as a count, and any kind of category, for example, we'll add systolic blood pressure category at bottom. We have added different category of systolic blood pressure at the bottom. Now we have a age one side, and we have a two different category of gender. Anything, if I want, I can add one more thing, one more variable on the x-axis. If not, directly we can click OK. But still this OK command is not visible. It's not working because this is pending. Cluster on X, any filter I want to add, so I can add one more variable if we want on the x-axis. For example, I have added a fasting blood sugar. Then we can click OK. We are going to get a graph. Now you can see that four things we have added together. One side we have a age, At bottom we have a blood pressure diastolic on admission, gender wise data, male and female separately. One column is representing to male, second is to female, and along with that fasting blood sugar. So fasting blood sugar along with blood pressure diastolic versus age of the patient separated by gender. So like this we can wait. So okay, we'll go to the topic which we are doing, graphs, chart preview. Okay, we have to add a two numeric. I will reset everything. I'll go to scattered. This is the scattered plot which we have to draw for the linear regression, and the first graph which will be quoted as simple scattered. So I'll take the simple scattered to the chart preview window, and I will add two variables. I have the HbA1c in my project. This is HbA1c, and I have a MET HR also. MET HR. Physical activity I have also taken in my PhD project with the name of what? Physical activity. Yeah, I have a MET HR. I'll take MET HR at bottom. Here you can see now okay. As I click OK, see the graph. What I have got in my PhD. So still we are not able to find out that what was the conclusion, because each dot is a individual patient. So for that, what we have to do, we'll double click on the graph, we will activate the graph, and on top we have a line to fit. So I will click on the line linear, I'll close, and this is the graph. Now we got the value of R also, and we can see the trend that it's a negative trend. So I can close this, and you can see that this is the graph. And for example, if you want you to compare your study with other person's study, so what you can do, you can add another line of the author. For example, SPSS will give the option to you to add another line. For example, you can choose the graph, and you can choose the range. Okay, what is the range of X and what is the range of Y of other author, so a line will be plotted according to the this. For example, right now I'm getting a value for Y is equal to 8.28, and value of X is 0.02. So like this, X or Y value will be quoted by the author in their research paper. So what you have to do, you have to take the X and Y value of those author, and you can add one more line. There is a option, go to edit, and you can add scale to data. By using scale to data or this command which is given on the top, you can add another line on the graph. So like this, for example, this another line has been plotted, and I can change. For example, this is 7.3233, or the X value is uh, 0.355, something like that. I will apply this value. This uh, value is going to be changed. This should be minus. Line has come at bottom. See, whatever the quote I have given, this one, this has come to bottom, so it has gone out of the graph. So like this, you can add the data of other person. So one line will be drawn something like here, and you can quote with same. For example, you can write here from A and B, that this is you can quote that this is my study, this study, and another line will be drawn, and there you can write Sharma et al. Or something like that. For example, directly you can add a chat ABCD box, edit file. You are going to get a option, property view, option text box. You can add here, for example, control A, Sharma et al. 2020. E should be small, and you can take this chat, this particular box should be small, and take from upside to the line, bring to near to the line wherever you want to keep. For example, you want to keep near to this line, you can bring it here, that this is my study and this is the study conducted by this person. So two lines will be drawn, and you can write the name of other author, that this is my study and this is the study conducted by other person. You can compare your study with the 3 or 4 other different studies directly inside the graph only. So by giving the reference, by giving the quoting line. So how to set the graph as per the journal's requirement, that is not today's topic. So I will let you know all these things in the further class. So with these how to create a graph, by going to option called graph and chart builder. So you have to create this scattered plot, simple scattered. So by seeing the creating a simple scattered, you can find out that what was the trend of your graph. If you are getting a straight line, either on positive or either on negative, it represents that you are eligible for the linear regression. So you can, after that you can run the test. Otherwise you have to stop there only if the chart suggests that you don't have found the linearity, because here we are getting a straight line and little bit on negative side. That was as per my data, but as which I have shown you in the presentation, if you run that data set 2.5, data set 2.5, if you run, you are going to get this graph. So you can see that a very nice uh, negative correlation has been drawn. And how to write the results of this particular graph, you can write the scattered plot. This is the name of the graph which I have taken from the SPSS. Shows evidence of linear association between MET-HR and HbA1c. So once we have proved that there is a indeed a linear association, now we can proceed with the linear regression. So how to proceed with the linear regression? We have this 12 different step which we have to follow. So most probably we are going to take this one in the tomorrow class. So simple linear regression from slide number 210, along with the multiple linear regression, I am going to take in tomorrow's session. So if any person is having a doubt for correlation coefficient and introduction of simple linear regression, they can ask me. I will happy to answer. If not, we'll close the session.